Today we will be doing with graphs, and this is the type of questions you get maximum in Cambridge. Okay, interpretation of graphs. So the chapter is same. Equation of simply support what it uniformly accelerated motion in a straight line. But today we will not use formulas. We will not use formulas where v equal to u plus at, s equal to ut plus half at square, and v square equal to u square plus 2as. Today we will be answering question on the basis of graph, and that question you will get maximum. So your ability should be how to read graph and understand. Okay? Chaliye. So we see what is the graphical interpretation. Graphs of, say, uniformly accelerated motion. So in this section you will typically get three graphs, 1, 2 and 3. The first graph is called an ST graph, second is called a VT graph, and the third is an AT graph. ST graph stands for displacement versus time graph. So this graph will typically look like this. This would be on the time. On x-axis you will have time, and here you will have displacement. So this is known as an ST graph. Okay. The second graph would be time, and here you will have velocity on the x, t, and this is v. And the third graph would be an AT graph, t and acceleration. Clear so far? Three graphs: ST graph, VT graph, AT graph. So usually when we combine this and we study it as a combined method, we usually study it like this. And many books you will see they'll make it. So the idea is to study them combined, then the idea get to know more. Okay. These are your three graphs. So my y-axis, my x-axis, 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 t, 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 st, vt, at. Okay? st, vt, at. Some analogies we will use here which are not to be understood, just only for understanding, anecdotes type. Think that this is first generation, this will be second generation, this will be third generation. Grandfather, father to son, son, father, grandfather. It is something like this. Okay? Remember it in this way. Now, in these three type of graphs, we study two parameters. The first parameter is called slope, and the second parameter is called area. You need to be very, very clear with these two concepts, because if you want to study with mathematics in grade 11, then this is the startup point for calculus. Right now it might make no sense for you. This is the, the small shrub that will help you understand later on what is known as differential calculus. And in grade 11, this chapter will be exactly same whether you continue in Cambridge or you come back to CBSE or wherever you go. Grade 11, this chapter will be exactly same, but they will bring calculus into it. So slope is all that accounts to differential calculus. Area will all that will account to integral calculus. Right now these are Greek and Latin to you, and let them be Greek and Latin only. But remember this, when you study in 11, अगर आप आज स्लोप ठीक से नहीं समझोगे तो आप 11 में डिफरेंशियल कैलकुलस नहीं समझोगे. इसलिए this is very important, and this differential calculus will be the key for studying physics. Wherever you study, whichever board, whichever country you study, an integral calculus. Okay? So we're going to take up, so what will be our idea today? We're going to take up these three graphs and we're going to understand these two parameters without these two, because now we are kiddos, we don't understand what is calculus. We'll just try to understand what is slope and what is area. Are we fine till now? Any questions so far? No questions? ठीक है? कुछ भी question है ना बच्चा वहीं पे रोक लीजिएगा, because there will be some concepts which will be new to you. So don't hold yourself. Okay, so I start with my first topic of slope. Bit idea about it you must be knowing already from your previous classes. Slope can be attacked from three different aspects of mathematics. One is coordinate geometry. You have no idea right now. One is trigonometry. You also have little bit idea. हमने वेक्टर्स का निकाला था ना, tan थीटा बताया था, तो थोड़ा सा आइडिया आपको ट्रिगोनोमेट्री का होगा. कोऑर्डिनेट ज्योमेट्री का आपको कोई आइडिया नहीं है अभी. Another is the nursery way of finding slope, for which you have an idea. And what is the nursery way? The nursery way talks about slope as rise over run. This is the nursery way I call it. इसका थोड़ा बहुत आइडिया you guys have. And if you don't have also, no worries. तो आइए स्लोप को पहले समझते हैं. What is slope? ठीक है. If you want scale rulers चाहिए तो nowadays I am keeping some extra rulers also. Don't hesitate. चाहिए you want? If you want, there are 2 rulers here. Okay. So how to understand slope? In order to understand slope, and stop me wherever you don't understand. Huh? Let's say this is a Cartesian coordinate system. What do we call it? Cartesian coordinate. Why do we call it Cartesian coordinate? This system was proposed by a French guy whose name was René Descartes. René Descartes was actually an accountant, not a mathematician. He proposed it in 2 dimensions how you can represent. I hope you are aware with this. X, negative x, y, negative y. ठीक है ना? Now, ये जो x होता है बेटा, ये x हमारा पॉजिटिव x होता है. Right? And this x we write as x dash, because if we take this as origin, this is taken as the negative side. So I would draw one arrow out here. You could have drawn this arrow anywhere. I am drawing it here, and I call this as positive direction of x-axis. Do you understand this much or not? This is the positive direction of x-axis. Could I have drawn the arrow here? Yes, possible. Here also the arrow is possible, provided the arrow is on this side. अगर हम इस साइड जा रहे हैं, that is always going towards the positive of x-axis. That can be from here also. That can be from here. Anywhere. The only idea is you should go towards this side. That is called the positive direction of x-axis. Right? Now, before understanding slope, we will be understanding about line. Now go back to your KG class. Lines can be number 1. What is known as sleeping line? Sleeping line. Then number 2 is standing line. And now bring your grade 10 knowledge. Sleeping line means a line which is parallel to x-axis. ठीक है ना बच्चा? This is parallel to y-axis, or I can say perpendicular to x-axis, and this is perpendicular to y-axis. बच्चा इतना समझ में आया? Sleeping, standing. एक और लाइन हमारे पास होता है, that is known as slanting line. Slanting line. This slanting line, henceforth in physics, we will call as straight line. थोड़ा सा understanding issue हो जाएगा. Straight means a line is always straight. So this is like again bury it under the ground. Line है तो भाई straight ही होगा ना. Straight line बोलते हैं हम इसे. अब ये straight line कैसा हो सकता है? ऐसा भी हो सकता है, ऐसा भी हो सकता है. 2 ways it can be. Means slanting this way or slanting. No other way is possible. Have I covered all type of lines? Yes, I think sleeping line cover हो गया है, standing line cover हो गया है, और slanting line भी cover हो गया है. और कोई line नहीं हो सकता है. Just think, is there any other type of line? Not possible. Line is not a नाग साहब, वो घूम के आ जाएगा. ठीक है? ये 2 पे अभी concentrate नहीं करेंगे, इसमें concentrate करेंगे. So let's take this line. Okay? Now one of the line जैसा हमने बनाया था, मैंने वैसे बना दिया. This is say my line L1. इसको क्या बोलते हैं? This is the line L1, right? और एक और लाइन कैसा बनाया था? Another line was like this. Tell me children, are these not the 2 type of slanting lines or straight lines? Have you understood these 2 type of lines? Now you will ask me, sir, is there some hard and fast rule कि आपने यही ड्रॉ किया? बिल्कुल नहीं. And I want you to draw in any place. आप कहीं भी ड्रॉ करो. किधर भी ड्रॉ करो आप, बस 2 लाइन ड्रॉ करो अपने कार्टेशियन कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम में. डोंट कॉपी माय ड्राइंग, यू ड्रॉ इट अकॉर्डिंग टू योर विश. आपको जहां ये इच्छा करे. सी राइट नाउ वन थिंग चिल्ड्रन, if you are finding it time taking to draw it with ruler and all, as you are taking running notes with me, आप इसे पेन से ही करो. आपके लिए समझना इंपॉर्टेंट है, because the video is being recorded. Though you will not watch the video, that's a different story. But जब आप वीडियो देखते हो ना, तब आप सुंदर से इसको फिर से अपना नोट्स बनाओ. Right now you just, because free hand drawing आना चाहिए आपको फास्ट. Teacher in a college will not wait for you. ठीक है? Clear? Saying single pen, use single pen. Try to understand. That is more important right now. ठीक है बच्चा? Let me know if you are done, then we'll go ahead. Are you fine so far? ठीक है, अभी आप नॉर्मल एक पेन लेके मेरे साथ चलते जाइए. बाद में आप इसका सुंदर ड्राइंग बनाइए. बनाना पड़ेगा बिकॉज यू आर इन ग्रेड 10. नाउ फर्स्ट वे वी विल सी, ये जो स्लोप है ना, इसको हमें इवेल्युएट करना है, फाइंड करना है. बट एट फर्स्ट वी विल नॉट इवेल्युएट. द फर्स्ट वे आई विल टीच यू इज टू फाइंड स्लोप इज इंडिकेटर ऑफ स्लोप. Indicator of slope means, suppose you are an honest guy and there is an honesty meter available in the market which I put on your body. It tells me how honest you are. Right now I am not trying to find out how honest you are by value. I am just trying to gauge your honesty. Indication of your, तुम honest हो भी कि नहीं वो gauge कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, आइए उसको gauge कैसे करते हैं. Slope of a line is indicated. Slope of a line, ध्रुव वो टेंशन मत ले, वो रहने दे वहां पे. ठीक है, हाँ पानी आएगा बाद में पूछा जाएगा. हाँ, slope of a line is indicated by the angle, सुनते जाइए, the angle the line makes with the positive direction of x-axis. लाइन के किसी भी पॉइंट से पॉजिटिव डायरेक्शन ऑफ एक्स एक्सिस यू मेक वन लाइन. इज दिस पॉजिटिव एक्स एक्सिस डायरेक्शन? यस. इज दिस पॉजिटिव एक्स एक्सिस डायरेक्शन? यस. देन द स्लोप इज गिवन बाय this particular angle which I write as theta. Have you understood? Now your again question may be, sir, look at me, you drew here, what if we make the positive line here? I would say, idiots, they are again corresponding angle, they would have been all the same. So it doesn't matter where you take the positive direction. Do you agree or not? See, I have taken a line here, I took the positive direction of x-axis here. Kirtan says, no sir, I want to take it here. Take it. If this is theta, don't you think this should be theta? Both are positive directions of x-axis. Then they are corresponding angles. Okay? So you can first write down, the first thing that you need to write down is slope is indicated. This will be very handy just to look at graphs and answer. So I write slope is indicated by the angle made by the graph. Now here I am writing graph. Sir, what is graph? What you plot. Look at here. What you plot is called the graph. We Indians, we think that graph book is graph. The run rate that you see in cricket, that is the graph. So what is your graph here? This straight line is the graph. Okay, made by the graph. In other words, I write it, the straight line with positive direction of x-axis. So what is slope? Slope is indicated by the angle made by the graph, that is the straight line with the positive direction of x-axis. इतना क्लियर हुआ? जहां आपको लाइन दिखे, ST ग्राफ, VT ग्राफ, AT ग्राफ, और आपको कोई बोलता है फाइंड द स्लोप, you first draw a positive direction of x-axis. And then you say that our sir did not teach us how to find slope, but right now he is teaching us how to get an indication of slope. Do you understand? I am not yet taught you how to find the value. You are only getting an indication of slope. Whether, ठीक है? अब जरा देखो. अब इस केस में अगर आप इस प्रॉब्लम को अच्छी तरह से देखो, the graphs that I have drawn, this angle I have represented by the Greek letter theta, Theta. You know how to write it? Children, are you aware how to write it? This is called theta, 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 right? If you see these two graphs, you find that there are two formats of theta. एक acute आपको दिख रहा है, एक obtuse आपको दिख रहा है. If you see properly, for the line L1 you find that theta is acute, and for L2 you find that it is obtuse. Just see theta. समझ में आया? Now we can't measure slope, but I said I will give you an idea to get an indication of slope. If theta is acute, then straight away come back to the conclusion slope is positive. Slope is positive. And if theta is obtuse, we say slope is negative. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कंक्लूजन्स है, इसको याद रखिएगा. लुकिंग एट अ ग्राफ you will be able to say whether the slope is positive or negative. Now the question arises, sir, how does it help me? अगर कोई ग्राफ आपको एक्सीलरेशन बता रहा है और वो ग्राफ ऑब्ट्यूज एंगल बना रहा है, then in that problem acceleration is negative, means it's a retardation case. समझ में आ रहा है? I will prove those also. Now, अब जरा स्लोप को और डिटेल में समझते हैं. स्लोप, what does slope mean? If you go by the word in Hindi, slope means ढलान है, जहां ढल जाता है, स्लोप है ना, स्लोप है, रोड में स्लोप है. और another word of slope in mathematics we use is called gradient. What is gradient? Sir, a gradient is always like this where there is a height difference. In order to understand, बच्चा बिठा दो इधर, बच्चा स्वी करके आ जाएगा. If there is a slope, the बच्चा will always slide. Understood? Now what if we take sleeping line? Now take the case of a sleeping line. Sleeping line. If you take a sleeping line, what should be the value of theta? You tell me. 0. स्लीपिंग लाइन में थीटा 0 हो जाता है और यहां हम बोलते हैं स्लोप इज 0. जस्ट इमेजिन ऐसा लाइन, इसमें अगर मैं बच्चा बिठा दूं, बच्चा जाएगा? नहीं जाएगा, स्लोप है ही नहीं. लिक्विड पोर कर दो, जाएगा? नहीं जाएगा. सो इन फिजिक्स वी से एवरीथिंग फ्लोज डाउन द ग्रेडियंट. अगर आप यहां से लिक्विड फेंकेंगे, लिक्विड विल गो डाउन हियर. If you put this at high voltage, this at low voltage, the current will go like this. If you put this at higher temperature and lower temperature, the heat will go like this. But last night, the way you slept, you made heat flow like this. You are working against the gradient. ठंडे रूम से और हीट बाहर निकाल रहे हैं आप. एसी चला के सोते हैं ना हम. We are working against the gradient. We are working against the nature. Easy नहीं होगा, पैसा लगता है. That's why you spend electricity. This will give you work. This is an engine. This will give you work. But what you did last night will not give you work. You have spent work, then only you can achieve this. Your room was at what temperature last night? 22. What is the outside temperature in Hyderabad? Say 40. Whole night you were throwing temperature from 22 to 40. How is that possible? What is a refrigerator doing? It's throwing heat from a cold zone to outside. ऐसे नहीं करेगा. Electricity चाहिए. Just do the other way around. हाथों को ऐसे गर्म कर लो. We are in Shimla now. Heated. This is chilling cold. But here, any work to be done? No. Higher temperature to lower temperature, it will come easily. Slow. समझ में आया? Sleeping line का केस समझ में आया? If you are a sleeping line, then your slope is 0. Now comes the condition. Sir, what happens if I am a standing line? If you are a standing line, your theta should be how much? 90 degree. In this case, we say slope is ND, not defined, or we say it is infinity. Slope is infinity. बच्चा बिठाएंगे तो बच्चा स्वर्गलोक पहुंच जाएगा पूरा ऊपर. Infinity, not defined. पर अभी भी वैल्यू नहीं मिला. लेकिन ध्रुव, वैल्यू दो ही केस में मिला है. स्लीपिंग में वैल्यू मिल गया, स्लोप इज 0. स्टैंडिंग में वैल्यू मिल गया, स्लोप इज इंफिनिटी. बट ये दो का वैल्यू नहीं मिला. Are you understanding? We didn't get a value for these two. Just we got an indication. Okay? Now next question. Say I have two lines like this. line A, line B. Can you observe line A and line B? Now don't try to draw anything. In your mind, try to plot the positive direction of x-axis. You can take one common danda also. Got it? In which do you think the angle will be more? Both will be acute angles, do you agree? In which the angle will be more? A. The value of theta will be more. So what I am trying to say is something like this. Draw the positive direction of x-axis. Let me call it as theta B and let me call this as theta A. Whose value is more, bacha? Theta A is more. Both are acute. Both indicate positive slope. Amongst both, slope of A is more than slope of B because theta A is more than theta B. Did I say something great? No. कॉमन सेंस लगाओ. हमारा ध्रुव को इधर बिठा दो और इधर बिठा दो. किधर ध्रुव स्वी करके गिरेगा? ए में गिरेगा. So A is the correct slope. Are you understanding now? But if these two lines were not aspas and one line was here and one line was here, it sometimes becomes difficult for you to comment on the answer. Then draw two positive direction of x-axis, measure the angles. Wherever you get the angle more, that line is more steep, slope is more. बच्चा बिठाने का सोचते रहो, हमेशा बच्चा बिठाओ. बच्चा बिठाने से कहां बच्चा जोर से गिरेगा, वहीं स्लोप ज्यादा है. क्लियर? Slope का introductory discussion is concluded here. Now we go to address the value of slope, which is important for us. Still we did not understand what is the use of slope here. Ultimately what we are studying right now is mathematics. This will again come to you when you do coordinate geometry in maths. So please understand this properly. ये आप भूल ही नहीं सकते हो if you want to study with science. Now we try to marry slope for this particular item and to find how to calculate slope. ठीक है? Clear? So what all did you learn? Sir, slope of a line is indicated by the angle the line makes with the positive direction of x-axis. If the angle is acute, slope is positive. If the angle is obtuse, slope is negative. To understand or compare the slope of two lines, just compare their angles. If they are acute, then both the slope is positive. Greater the angle, greater the slope. And if I don't understand all these things, I just put a baby and I see where the baby is sliding more faster, that has more slope. When I look at a sleeping line, my slope is 0 because the baby never goes. है ना? तो bathroom जब बनाते हैं, bathroom, you are supposed to make it with little bit slope towards that hole. Otherwise bathroom कभी सूखेगा ही नहीं. Balconies have a slight slope. Air conditioners which are there in your house fitted, they will have slight slope. Slight slope देना, सीधा नहीं fit करते हैं. Otherwise the water of the air conditioner will not come out. More humid, the air conditioner pisses more. Have you seen that? So if you don't do it with a slide, पानी नहीं आएगा. Fridge is always with a slope on the back side. Why? So that when you open the door, टक करके door बंद होना चाहिए. Fridge is never installed straight. There is a potential chance of the fridge being capsized because you will be loading the door. ये engineering यहीं से आता है. Fridge हमेशा थोड़ा पीछे रहता है. Fridge is little bit always like this. ठीक है? Clear? Understood? And a standing line will always have slope as infinity. Now our job is evaluation of slope. मिटाई बच्चे यहाँ से. Any questions? Anyone? Any question? Nidhi, hold on. Don't try to fall asleep. Some popcorn, whatever it is, you munch something, which is sugarless. The best thing is popcorn or something. Don't eat thermocol. कुछ तो खाते रहे बेटा. Some poha or something. The best, you know what, Nidhi? The best is take one papad, put it in micro. 30 seconds that papad will get roasted and just keep 3-4 papads and tick 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 tick. नींद नहीं आएगा आपको. चलो. Now calculation of slope. Calculation of slope. Number 1, rise run method, which I call as nursery method. Rise run method is known as nursery method. Another is trigonometric approach. अभी trigonometry सीख जाएगा आप, फिर life एकदम मजेदार. What? आ जाओ. What, sir? You keep us smiling and then चुपके से you put complaints on parent forum. You are such a betrayer, such a कीड़े पड़े आपके मुंह पे सर, है ना सर, क्या सब कंप्लेन देते रहते हो. Sastra is not saying anything. Yesterday night she took full revenge with compass on my face. अस्मिता फोटो भेजो क्या मेरा A4 साइज, कॉम्पास से खरोचने के लिए जरूरत पड़ता है, फ्रस्ट्रेशन आता है बीच बीच में, मैं क्या करूं. दिस इज एक्स, एक्स डैश, वाई, वाई डैश, लड्डू. चलो आ जाओ. सो लेट मी टेक अ लाइन. लाइन कैसे बनाया, लाइन मैंने ऐसे बनाया. दिस सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइन आई हैव फर्स्ट मेड. ओके, दिस लाइन. So looking at it, what should be the angle it makes with the positive direction of x-axis? Acute. Slope is positive. In this case, slope is positive. इसके बाद हम negative slope भी देखेंगे, ठीक है. In order to find by the rise-run method, we should have 2 points on this line. This is the coordinate geometry points. Let's take one point as P. ये एक point P लिया और ये एक point हमने लिया Q. समझ में आया बच्चा? आ जाओ. P से हमने नीचे नाना 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 किया, एंड लेट्स से दिस पॉइंट इज x1, ठीक है ना. और वैसे ही यहां पे एक पॉइंट लिया, दिस पॉइंट इज y1. सो P एज अ पॉइंट इज x1 y1. अंडरस्टूड, राइट. सिमिलरली वी टेक Q, और in this method you should have 2 points, and this point is x2. So Q as a point will be x2, y2, and from here na 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 y2. समझ में आया, ठीक है. अब इसका स्लोप निकालने के लिए, अच्छा स्लोप तो कहीं भी सेम ही होगा बिकॉज इट्स अ स्ट्रेट लाइन. यू कैन फाइंड द स्लोप एनीवेयर, वेरेवर इज योर विश. ऑल यू नीड इज 2 पॉइंट्स ऑन द लाइन, ठीक है. हमने ये 2 पॉइंट ले लिया. ये 2 पॉइंट लेने के बाद आप क्या करो, आप यहां पे एक इमेजिनरी राइट एंगल ट्राइंगल बना लो. ये आपका, दिस इज योर इमेजिनरी राइट एंगल ट्राइंगल. अंडरस्टूड, वेरी गुड, ठीक है. देन व्हाट यू डू नाउ इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट. थिंक दैट यू आर एट P1, you are at P, you are at P, and start smiling. Okay, now we say slope is equal to rise over run. Now you are where? You are at, sorry, you are at P. You are supposed to rise from P to Q, but the movement that is allowed to you is like in chess. Chess to khela hoga little bit of. The first coin in chess, what is that called? Rook. We desis call it now. ऐसा ऐसा जाता है ना, right angle, right angle. ये भी right angle. Your movement is allowed only right angle. Your wish. So how do you reach Q? You say that from here I will first climb. I'll climb like this. You'll climb like this. Means basically you have come here. You, sorry, not here. You have come here. यहाँ तक आप आ गए. Understood? From P you have climbed this way. You have climbed this way. This way you have climbed. And you are now here. Right now you are here. Did you understand this? This is known as your rise. And how did you climb rise, you tell me? You climbed rise by going vertically upwards. Vertically upwards. So your rise is positive. आप ऊपर की तरफ गए. If anyone climbs this way, then this is interpreted as a positive rise. If you would have gone this way, ऐसा भी जाना हो सकता है. I don't call it lower. We'll still call it rise. As we call everything in profit. This is positive profit, this is negative profit. So here my rise will be considered as negative. But in my case, how did I go, beta? I went like this. Now I need this value, just the magnitude of it. What should be the magnitude of it? Y2 minus Y1. From here to here is Y2, from here to here is Y1. So what is this? Y2 minus Y1. तो आपका राइज कितना हुआ बच्चा? Y2 minus Y1. And suppose in exam our friend Sahasra thinks, sir अगर मैं Y1 minus Y2 लिखूं आपका राइज नेगेटिव आ जाएगा. Just think, this will be 5, this will be 10. If you do 5 minus 10, you will get negative 5. So that contradicts you. You are rising upwards positive. So try to use the numbers in such a manner that you get a positive number out of it. So what should you do? 10 minus 5. Agreed? And your destination is to come till Q. So now what you will do? You will move this way. इसको हम बोलते हैं run. So an horizontal movement is always known as run. And if you run this side, you are running positive. If you run this side, then you are running negative. Acha, tell me, bacha, no question so far. Have you understood what I am saying? Rise. If you go north, you are going positive rise. If you go down south, you are going negative. Run if you go east is positive. Run if you go west. तो हमने run कैसा किया बेटा? हमने run यहाँ positive किया है. अब इस फिगर को पॉजिटिव लाने के लिए क्या करेंगे? x2 minus x1 करेंगे, है ना? So it will be x2 minus x1. And in this figure of ours, whatever be these values, will you not agree with me that you are going to get it positive? Yes. So this proves that this is a positive slope line. Clear? How to find rise and run? You must have done it before also. Okay? Now, let's do the same thing for a negative line. ठीक है? ये समझ में आया? आइए अब इसका नेगेटिव भी देखते हैं. So don't you think, bacha, this was rise and this is run? You basically calculated this rise over run. And if this is P, this is Q, I mention this as R. तो मैं एक और डेटा लिख के रखता हूं. QR by PR is what you solved. Agreed? And I said that if I increase this line further, this PR, this is nothing but positive X direction. Do you agree? And where was our original theta? Our original theta was here. And if you apply trigonometry, अब अश्मिता एक मिनट absorb करो, नहीं समझोगे मैं बताऊंगा. ये तीनों बंदर पढ़ चुके हैं trigonometry. If you apply trigonometry, then I told you tan theta को कैसे याद करते थे? TOA. Tan theta is equal to TOA means opposite by adjacent. थीटा का ऑपोजिट कौन होता है? मेरे सामने वाला साइड ऑपोजिट कहलाता है QR. और ये तो हमेशा ही हाइपोटेन्यूज. दिस इज ऑलवेज द हाइपोटेन्यूज. दिस इज माय ऑपोजिट साइड. सो दिस हैज टू बी माय एडजेसेंट साइड डिवाइडेड बाय PR. यानी कि दिस वाज द नर्सरी मेथड ऑफ फाइंडिंग स्लोप. This is the trigonometric method of finding slope. Slope is also given by tan of theta. What is tan theta? I will come. गड़बड़ मत करो, थोड़ा इंतजार करो. समझ में आया? और कितना सोएगा रे? लिक्विड सोप डाल दो मुंह के अंदर, मुंह में घिचबिच करता रहेगा, नींद ही नहीं आएगा और कभी भी. पेंसिल घुसा थोड़ा दबा ले. पेन देना, पेन दे अपने आप को, नींद चला जाएगा. मैं सच में कह रहा हूं. योर स्लीप विल गो अवे. इतना कैसे सोते हो? Weird. I think Ashmita and our friend Ahiri will have some issue with that tan theta part. Forget this tan theta part. Have you understood this part or not? You tell me. ठीक है? अब नेगेटिव स्लोप करने से पहले चलो फिर इनको थोड़ा tan theta बता दें. तो tan theta जानना जरूरी है. So very quick to trigonometry. Very quick. Trigonometric ratios are always applicable to right angle triangle like this. In a right angle triangle, if this is right angle, then the side opposite to the right angle, opposite हमेशा इसको बोलते हैं सामने वाला. वो गाना याद करो, मेरे सामने वाली side. That सामने वाला side is always known as hypotenuse. Got it? Out of the two angles that are remaining now, you can freeze any one angle to your choice. Based on that, we will name the other two sides. So let's say this is our right angle triangle Abasa. In Abasa, you froze this, and let's call this angle as theta. इसको हमने क्या बोला? थीटा. ठीक है? अब थीटा का जो ऑपोजिट साइड होगा इसको हम बोलेंगे ऑपोजिट, और जो बाकी रह गया वो हो जाएगा एडजेसेंट. यू स्टिल डोंट एग्री विथ मी एंड यू से सर ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता है, आप दूसरा फॉर्मेट भी दिखाइए. ABC.
Hypotenuse always remains as hypotenuse. Now this is theta. Now what is opposite side? This is opposite side. Then this becomes adjacent. समझ में आया? Opposite and adjacent समझ में आया? Now there are 6 trigonometric ratio, out of which 3 are like the prime and 3 are their wives. 3 मेजर और 3 बीवियां. आपके लिए अभी 3 मेजर समझ लीजिए. The 3 trigonometric ratios are known by this formula called SOHCAHTOA. So stands for sine. Sine of an angle is always equal to opposite by adjacent. Opposite by adjacent. Cos of an angle is always given by adjacent by SOHCAHTOA. Opposite by hypotenuse, adjacent by hypotenuse, and tan of an angle is given by opposite by adjacent. And if you see this properly, you can also say tan of an angle is also equal to sin theta by cos theta. करके देखो, sin theta को divide करो cos theta से, ये hypotenuse कट जाएगा, it will again become this. Just keep it mentioned right now. SOHCAHTOA. And what you can do, Ashmita, if you go to my playlist, there is a playlist called CBSE Trigonometry Grade 10. You will see a trigonometry वाला photo भी है उसमें ये सब initial है. सीखना है, anyway you have to learn. You also will learn. If you think you want to learn it, go to that video. वो अदर मेरे जैसा ही एक आदमी मैं ही मतलब पढ़ा रहा हूँ, आपको आसान से समझ में आ जाएगा. Point is you have to invest time and effort, because Cambridge is different from CBSE. Cambridge is spread apart. They will tell you 3-4 things, and if you then say, sir, what is a salad? अब इस देखो डायरेक्शन रुक के सिर्फ सलाड ही समझाने चला गया. But all these are available. So spend time, right? So tan theta will actually give me the value of what you call slope. Now I told you, greater is the value of angle, greater is the slope. You have your scientific calculators with you? Where is it? Laying eggs? कैलकुलेटर हाथ के बाहर क्यों नहीं है? मोबाइल रखो सर, इंस्टाग्राम कैलकुलेटर क्या? That means see, look at me. बड़े एंगल का tan भी बड़ा होना चाहिए ना. If the angle is bigger, the slope is bigger. But you don't get the value of slope you get only by tan theta. So just do a test. You do a value of tan 30 and tan 45. According to me, tan 45 should be a bigger value than tan 30. करके देखो. Tan 30 will be 1 by root 3. Tan of 30, देखो tan है. Do you know how to use it or not? Tan 30 is 1 by root 3. That is rationalized. Put S to D. See what is the value. It's coming 0.5. Remember in mind. Do tan 45. Tan 45 will be 1. So tan 45 is a bigger value. Do tan 60. It will come root 3, 1.732. So what are you understanding? As you are increasing theta, the tan of theta is also increasing. समझ में आया? Yes, sir.
I just wondered, what is a tan 60? How do you calculate it? Like if you say tan 60.
How do you calculate it? अभी करेंगे तो फिर डाइवर्ट करेंगे, तो मैं आपको बोलूंगा नहीं बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, आप वो वीडियो देखिए एक बार. उसमें tan 60, tan 30, tan 45. Now see, we are from CBSE, so we are supposed to remember the table. If you ask me 0, 30, 60 and 90, I can tell you tuck like that. It comes by practice. But you are allowed to use the calculator. Even if you don't have the calculator, you can do on your own. But that will derail the class today. आप देख सकते हो, आप CBSE trigonometry videos are there. In fact, the class is being right now taught with CBSE. And from my side, better open invitation. If you any day say, no sir, I want to sit with the CBSE grade 10ers on that class, which no child will ever say. If you ever want, आ जाओ, I'll give you the link, join that class, बैठो, मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. ज्ञान चारों ओर बट रहा है. क्लास जाने के लिए यूनिफॉर्म चाहिए. You just need uniform. Change your uniform and sit in that class. ठीक है? Have you understood this? Now let us try to find out the slope for a उल्टा inclined straight line. ठीक है? अब ये लाइन हमारा कैसा होगा? ये ऐसा था, तो ये लाइन हमने ऐसा बनाया. Let's make the line like this. Do you see the line now? Okay. Our line now on your in your mind you draw the positive direction of x-axis. Sir, why should I draw the positive direction of x-axis? It is already drawn by you. तो कट के गया है. What is this angle? Obtuse. That means what should be the slope? Negative, right? So we again take 2 points out here. दो point ले लो. One is this point and say this is one more point, okay? And let's get some values out here. So this point is say x1 and this point is x2. This point let us say is y1 and this point let us say is y2. Have you understood, children? Okay? So let us call this as P, let us call this as Q. So what I do, I complete my imaginary triangle again. Now imaginary right angle triangle is seen from this side. Look, this is the imaginary right angle triangle. Don't you think? Right? And this is R, PQR. How to find out the slope? Sir had said position yourself at P first. So you are at P, right? And sir said first calculate. How do we calculate slope? Slope is given by rise. Rise means my duty is to reach Q. So from P I start rising. So where do I rise? I rise this way. Either rise karte hain hum. Where am I rising? Northwards. Northwards. So I should get a positive value for that. So my value would be y2 minus y1. Do you agree? So rise is coming as y2 minus y1 divided by the run. Now I have to reach here. So I have reached this position. I am here now. Now I have to reach this side. So this is my run. How am I running? Negative is my run. Do you understand? My run is negative now. So how do you get the negative figure? You will get the negative figure by this figure minus this figure. समझ में आ रहा है? You have to get a negative figure here. So ascertain you get a negative. So if you do x1 minus x2, x2 is already negative. So it becomes x1 negative of negative positive हो जाएगा. नहीं चलेगा. So I should do x2 minus x1. So I will do a x2 minus x1 out here. x2 is negative, x1 is positive, so this will give me a negative answer. So don't you think my run is negative out here? My run will be negative, ultimately the slope will come negative. Now question arises, sir, how will you actually, now it will be a little bit difficult for you in trigonometry. You will now try to say, sir, how do you now find it in terms of theta, tan theta? Now, try to see the beauty part of it. Where is theta? This whole angle is theta. This whole angle is theta. But as I told you, tan theta and all ratios are applicable only for the right angle triangle. The right angle triangle is this side. So, what should be this angle? 180 minus theta. बच्चा समझ में आया? Trigonometry का एक formula है. Now just gulp it down. Tan of 180 minus theta is always negative tan theta. Tan of 180 minus theta is negative tan theta. You need pen, I can give you. How does this happen? Cannot explain you now. Later on. Now come back to the formula. What is slope by trigonometry? Look at the board. What is slope by trigonometry? Tan theta. What is your theta? This entire thing is theta. Tan theta. So whatever tan theta value you get, a negative comes in front of it. Ultimately slope becomes negative. And how do you calculate this tan theta? You don't know how to calculate. You calculate basically this side. So tan negative of tan theta means negative of tan of 180 minus theta, which is negative of what? Q R by PR. Ultimately you are doing the same thing. Tan theta means, tan means opposite by adjacent. opposite is QR. फिर से समझो, you are supposed to find tan of this angle, but I tell you that tans can be found only for right angle triangle. बच्चा कुछ ऐसा है, a tan theta can be found only for a right angle triangle. You are trying to find tan theta for this. यहाँ right angle triangle form नहीं होता है. This is theta. This is theta. You want to find tan theta. Sir, we cannot. No right angle triangle. So what do? You find out this angle 180 minus theta. इसका tan निकालो. Tan of 180 minus theta. What will be it? Opposite side by adjacent side. Let's say this is ABC. So this becomes equals to AB by BC. This I can calculate. No issues. मेरे को ये चाहिए. I want this. But sir, you calculated this. Now try to find a connection between these two. This one is equal to negative of this one. So if you know this, you know this. Cambridge is not that easy. ठीक है? Understood? Tell me now, have you understood how to calculate slope? Then only we can go to diagrams now. Did you understand how to calculate slope? Slope can be found out by rise-run method or by tan theta method. Sir, which one should we use? Anyone in which the scenario, whichever formula is becoming easy. Suppose I get a scenario where these values are all given on the y-axis, x-axis. Why should I break my head on tan theta? I will only use rise by run. With the condition that I will first see the orientation of the line. That will tell me initially whether the slope is positive or negative. And then I'll massage the data in that manner so that I get positive data or negative data. Have you understood? The most strange part in your class is बीच में अस्मिता क्वेरी करता है, बाकी क्वेरीज नहीं आता है. लेकिन और हाँ, you have a query, very good. Query नहीं आना for a teacher is very tension. Why? You know, either you have understood everything in which I will eat 2 extra chapati at home. But generally here the fear factor is you have not understood and you are keeping mum, thinking that I will get angry. Even if I get angry twice, you have seen my anger goes away in 1 minute. सीखना आप ही को है, पूछो बेटा. Why I can't find the tan theta here? Come again with the question, beta. Why is it called tan theta? Tan is a, we can't find the tan of this angle. Tan is a ratio. Tan comes from the word tangent. Tangent of an angle. That's a ratio. Tan of theta, tan of any angle is opposite by adjacent. I am interested to find tan of this particular angle. Opposite adjacent can be created only when a right angle triangle is created. Can you create a right angle triangle here? You are already obtuse. But you still need the tan of that angle. So what idea you put is, you try to calculate tan of this angle. 180 minus theta. आप करके देख लो. Let's do one practice. Suppose we want the value of tan 120. 1 minute. Don't use a calculator now. Tan 120 should be equal to what? Negative of 180 minus 120 is how much? 60. So I say tan 120, I don't know how to find out, but I can find out what is tan 60. If this is 120, this will be 60. Tan 60. tan 60 का नेगेटिव करेंगे. अब आप कैलकुलेटर उठाइए और tan 60 देखिए. tan 60 will be 1.732. Just check, it will be √3. tan 60 चेक करो. 1.732. What is minus of tan 60? Negative 1.732. You agree with me? Now you press tan 120 in your calculator. करो. माइनस में आएगा तो करेक्ट है ना. अगर 120 निकालना नहीं आता है, 60 निकालो और उसको नेगेटिव करो. हमें 120 निकालना नहीं आता है क्योंकि राइट एंगल ट्राइंगल इज नॉट गेटिंग फॉर्म्ड. सो व्हाट आई डू, आई कैलकुलेट 60. फॉर 60 कैन आई कैलकुलेट ऑपोजिट बाय एडजेसेंट, put a negative to it. That's the formula. Tan of 180 minus theta is negative. So what you are trying to do, my dear children, is you are stuck up at tan 120. You don't know what is 120. So you say tan of 60 degree is negative of tan of. This you can find out. This you can find out. But your interest was to get this. Your interest was to get this. So how do you get this? How do you get this? You first find out this and put the negative out here. Same है ना? ये negative यहाँ ले गया तभी तो same ही है. Tan 120 is negative of tan 60. Understood? Does that answer your query? ठीक है? You cannot find here. So if you are getting a tan data very quickly, you can use it. Or else, if you think that with this you are able to solve, very good. With this, do not make mistake with sign. And how do you not make mistake with sign? Initially look at the line and gauge its slope. That's why I told you. Theta does not tell me the slope. Theta gives me an indication of the slope. My indication of the slope is positive or negative. इतना तो पता चल गया. Value नहीं पता. Value rise run से निकालेंगे. Tan theta से निकालेंगे. Clear? यहां खत्म होता है slope का generic ज्ञान. If somebody has something more to puke or vomit, please do not think of the linen and the cloth. आप puke कर सकते हैं, लेकिन पेट में बदहजमी मत create कीजिए. Any question, any idiotic, super idiotic question is most welcome. ये कहानी एक बार में absorb होना इतना easy नहीं है. And if you think you have understood it, then my second fear factor to you will be that it will be very volatile if you don't go home and practice it. At least this particular thing, if you don't write down and keep it. Yeah, volatile. Because in your book, whether you go to CBSE book, this book, any foreign book, anywhere, they'll just say, just calculate the slope. But what is the story of Bhutnika's slope? Nobody tells you in detail. I suffered a lot in my grade 11 because I used to, ये देखने से ही I used to run from this chapter, slope. जैसे वो बच्चा गिरता था ना, मैं वैसे गिरता था. But now I feel this is the most confident part of anything. Because हमें ऐसे किसी ने बढ़ाया नहीं, बताया नहीं. अभी आपको slope clear हुआ. Now we will marry slope to our original physics. ठीक है? Now one more interesting thing. जहां भी आपने स्लोप कैलकुलेट किया, आप जरा ये फिगर्स को देखिए. QR, 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 QR. Now I will give you some desi thought. Whenever you see slope, can I rub? Where do I rub? यहाँ पे rub, यहाँ रब करता हूं. ठीक है? यहाँ रब करता हूं. देखो, मजा लो, मजा. आ जाओ. देखो, स्लोप क्या होता है? Just think, and this has no analogy to any physics or maths. This is completely my way of understanding. You now forget rise over run. You found slope was coming something QR by PR. Do you agree? एक QR measurement कौन सा एक्सिस में है? जरा देख के बोल तो. QR measurement is on which axis? Y axis. क्या मैं QR को ये बोल सकता हूं कि QR is something on a Y data? This is not there in any book. हाँ, ये देसी टेक्निक है. Your school, no, don't write all these things. This is only for you to understand. Slope is Y data. And where is PR? X axis. Y data by X data. बस बच्चा, इसको लाइफ में मत भूलना. 1 मिनट में तुम्हारा आंसर आएगा अभी. हाँ बोलो. हाँ, डेटा मतलब QR कैसे मिला? वैल्यू Y एक्सिस का कोई डेटा लिया ना. अरे भूतनिका, दिस डेटा इज ऑन Y एक्सिस ना. एंड X, ये मैं भूतनिका बोलता हूँ तो प्यार से बोलता हूँ. हाँ, बुरा नहीं मानने का. घर में जब मैं आई वाज हैविंग अ ट्रॉमा, ही कॉल मी भूतनिका, यू नो. एंड X डेटा इज ऑन X एक्सिस. समझ में आया? अब 1 minute is exactly 3 minutes to go to your class. In 3 minutes you will become the champion of all these 3 graphs. 3 minutes में तुम बोल दोगे, which your class में बच्चा लोग बोलते रहता है, I don't know what is slope and so what did I say? There are 3 graphs that we get, and in these 3 graphs we have to understand slope and area. Today we will not see area, we'll only see slope. ठीक है? शुरू करें. आप ही आंसर दोगे, guarantee you will only answer. Now if you know also, don't just keep your mouth closed just to defeat me. If you know it, wholeheartedly tell it. The first graph is what graph? S stands for what? S stands for, I can't hear it. S stands for, what is the SI unit of displacement? Yeah, put the spear inside you. What is the SI unit of displacement? You don't study, that's the reason. Displacement, how can it be meters per second? पूरा चीज चौपट कर देता. मैं इतना शौक से पढ़ाने की कोशिश करता हूं. Displacement का यूनिट क्या है? What is the unit of time? यहां पे स्लोप कैलकुलेट करते हैं. स्लोप इज व्हाट एज पर माय गांव वाला सिस्टम, y डेटा बाय x डेटा. वॉट एवर y डेटा यू गेट, उसका यूनिट क्या निकलेगा? वॉट एवर y डेटा यू गेट, यूनिट विल कम some blah blah figure you will get. Y data will give you meter, x data क्या देगा? ये क्वांटिटी क्या है? क्वांटिटी क्या है ये? which quantity's unit is meter per second? The slope of a ST graph gives me velocity. समझ में आया? How quick you are getting the data? The slope of a ST graph gives me velocity. Many children will get stuck up here. They'll think what to calculate, slope or area. आपको टेंशन ही नहीं. Slope is x by y by x data. Y data is always meter. Unless like him you don't know what is displacement unit, then you goof it up. दूसरा वाला करें. दूसरा वाला ग्राफ क्या है? What graph? Velocity time graph. What is the unit of velocity? Meters per second. What is the unit of second? Time. Second. इसका स्लोप कैलकुलेट करते हैं. इसका स्लोप हमें क्या देगा? y डेटा by x डेटा. What is y data? Sir, some value we will get, but the unit will be meter per second. And here we will get some data, but it will be second. That means meter per second, meter per second square. ऐसा कौन सा यूनिट है फिजिक्स में? एक्सीलरेशन. I told you ना, दादाजी, इसका बेटा कौन है? वेलोसिटी. दादाजी का स्लोप निकालोगे तो बाप पैदा होता है, बाप का स्लोप निकालेंगे तो बेटा पैदा होता है. बेटे का भी स्लोप निकाल के देख ले, आ जाओ. इसका स्लोप क्या होगा? ये क्या है? मीटर पर सेकेंड स्क्वायर. ये क्या है? सेकेंड. तो इसका स्लोप क्या हो जाएगा? मीटर पर सेकेंड स्क्वायर बाय सेकेंड, विच इज मीटर पर सेकेंड क्यूब. Have you studied any quantity meter per second cube? No, you have not studied. But if you go higher in physics and all, ये भी एक क्वांटिटी है. इसको बोलते हैं जर्क, लेकिन हम पढ़ते नहीं है. होल्ड ऑन, मजा लो, ये हम पढ़ते नहीं है. सो यहां हम बोलते हैं स्लोप इज इनकॉन्क्लूसिव. ग्रैंडफादर टू फादर, फादर टू सन, सन के आगे और पता नहीं है अभी. Inconclusive. In the language of calculus, because you have seen one t-shirt, that's why I'll tell you. In the language of calculus, displacement is taken as, this is taken as ds, chota ds, and slope will be given as ds by dt, ds by dt, chota displacement by chota time. We call it what? V. The same thing, velocity. वेलोसिटी का अगर हम डिफरेंशिएशन करेंगे, छोटा वेलोसिटी बाय छोटा टाइम, यू गेट ए. एक्सीलरेशन का अगर हम करेंगे तो दिस इज इनकॉन्क्लूसिव फॉर अस. वी कैन नॉट कंक्लूड. अंडरस्टूड? देयर इज अनदर वे टू रीड दिस. दिस इज ओनली फॉर फन. आई एम टेलिंग यू. हाउ डू यू रीड? मेनी बुक्स विल राइट दिस डिस्प्लेसमेंट एज एक्स ऑल्सो, dx by dt. ठीक है? dv by ds के जगह पे dx. This is not required at your level. This is at 11, but you'll get the beauty now as I close the class. What is velocity? dx by dt. What is acceleration? Velocity is differentiation. Velocity is differentiation. So let us differentiate velocity. You are not understanding, I know that, but don't worry. Try to absorb. Instead of v, I wrote dx by dt. This is differentiation, d by dt. Instead of v, I wrote dx by dt. v is dt by dt, right? है ना? तो इसको हम क्या बोलते हैं? Twice of differentiation को square नहीं बोलते. We read it as d2x by dt2. What do we read it as? d2x by dt2. Hold on. Then we are trying to differentiate now acceleration with respect to time. Acceleration with respect to time, which is nothing but differentiating. What did acceleration come out as? d2x by dt2. This is said as d3x by dt3. You must have seen a lot of t-shirts guys wear where it is written here don't be a d3x by dt3. And many people query what does it, वो कह रहा है don't be a jerk. Now you got the idea. Acceleration के displacement को the quantity we study it as is jerk, but we don't study it till ये MSc वगैरह में पढ़ाते हैं. Sushant Singh Rajput used to wear a t-shirt. There's a lot of query in Google if you see. What does the t-shirt represent? D3x by dt3. The t-shirt is representing don't be a d3x by dt3 means don't be a jerk. Because acceleration's displacement is jerk. हर चीज का अगर मजा उठाना है ना तो फिजिक्स को समझना जरूरी है. ये आपके लिए नहीं है. This is not for you. You should know only these three things. Slope, meter per second, slope, meter per second square, slope inconclusive. Similarly, we will also study for area. Once we get that matrix, that for this graph, what does slope mean? What does area mean? For this graph, what does slope mean? What does area? For this graph, what does slope mean? Sir, slope does not mean anything. Slope is inconclusive. समझ में आया? जब हम एरिया एनालिसिस करेंगे ना, इसका एरिया कुछ नहीं बताएगा, इसका एरिया बताएगा. This will be crisscross relation. And once you get that, take a problem and then they'll say calculate velocity. You look at the graph, velocity. अच्छा, this is a ST graph. Velocity is slope. हाँ, slope calculate करो सर, velocity बता देगा. 1 मिनट में होगा. No point in going through all this v equal to u plus at. So our takeaway for the day is the entire concept of slope. Try to understand, and after that, bring your slope to one small formula which will be not there in any book. Slope is y data by x data. What is area in this language? Think of a rectangle here. Rectangle का area क्या होता है? Length times breadth. Length कहां पे होता है? किस एक्सिस में होता है? तो breadth किस एक्सिस में होगा? Y axis. So area is always x data into y data. रुक जा बंद कर रहा है. देखिए अगले क्लास में मजा. एरिया ऑफ अ ट्राइंगल क्या है? Half into base into altitude. Base if it is on x axis, altitude is on, and you forget the half. Forget those scalar multiples of half. Trapezium कुछ भी ले लो. You will find children, area will always be x data into y data. और 1 मिनट बोरो कर रहा हूं. इसका x data y data क्या होगा? x data में क्या है? Seconds. Y data में meter. So here area should get you meter seconds. Have you heard any quantity with meter seconds? I have not heard. There's nothing. Area of this graph is inconclusive. Come here. What is area? Meter per second into second. Second cut, you get meter. What is it? What is the quantity whose unit is meter? Displacement. Velocity time graph का area displacement देता है. अगर ये इसको जन्म देता है, इसको उल्टा करेंगे तो ये निकलेगा. Come here. What is the area? Sir, meter per second square multiplied by second. Second cut, meter per second. What is it? Velocity. Though we'll do it again in our next class. This is the beauty of it. ये हमें क्या बताता है? Slope gives us velocity. Area inconclusive. Slope gives us acceleration. Area gives us displacement. Slope inconclusive. Area gives us velocity. Area बोलने से एक स्टेप ऊपर जाओगे. That's why integral calculus ऊपर जा रहे हो खानदान में, and that's why differential calculus नीचे आ रहे हो. जाइए. Missing next 2 classes. A few classes. Okay. Missing a class is